How did Bill Gates, one of the most iconic billionaires in history, fall behind his former assistant in net worth? Is it a scandal, a flop, or a divorce? Well, none of the above. It's something far more telling. Philanthropy and everything to do with how much money he's given away. So let's break this down. Why is Gates falling on the rich list? How did his assistant beat him, and what does this say about the future of wealth? In fact, the recent fall in Gates' net worth has nothing to do with the state of his businesses or investments to start. We need context. For decades, Gates has been a fixture in the top 5 richest people on Earth, if not the top 3. In fact, he spent years at no one. So it dropped to no. 12 may sound dramatic, but it hasn't actually altered his day-to-day life. The answer: data. See, while Gates' net worth was previously listed at $175 billion, the new estimate comes in at $124 billion. Gates, the genius behind Windows, Office, and Internet Explorer, currently ranks below Ballmer, the guy who just held on to his Microsoft shares and waited for them to compound. That's a massive difference. He played a pivotal role in key decisions, shaping the company's trajectory from the inside. Given his close relationship with Gates, one might assume that Ballmer got a substantial cut of the action. But that's not what happened. To understand that, we need to go back to 1980, when Ballmer left his job at Procter & Gamble to join Microsoft as Gates' direct assistant. Now, this wasn't just any job. It was a role that put him at the heart of Microsoft's early success, offering unique access and insights. He's not suddenly selling properties or scaling back on vacations. In fact, these changes only made headlines because of 2 recent updates. Eventually, Microsoft converted this deal into equity. And that's when things really took off. In fact, they used to be neck and neck. Both men exited Microsoft in 2000. Both invested in diverse portfolios and both saw their fortunes skyrocket. He simply stayed at Microsoft and rode the wave, continued holding Microsoft shares and taking an active interest in the company. Gates began donating huge chunks of his wealth, starting with a $10 billion pledge in 2006, followed by a $20 billion boost in 2010. Those donations alone reduced his net worth by $30 billion. On paper, he's outperformed every major tech figure except for Jeff Bezos. First, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos nudged past him to claim the top spot. And by 2020, the gap had widened to $50 billion. And that's a crucial distinction. Gates is no longer in the top 10 richest people. He's ranked 12th. But here's the fascinating part. He's freed himself from the shackles of maximizing shareholder value, giving him more time for meaningful pursuits. Ironically, it's that same loyalty that now puts him ahead of his mentor. Gates is showing that it's possible to have less and be more. It allows Gates to step back from the endless pursuit of wealth, focusing instead on using his resources to address global challenges. He's proof that not every billionaire is hoarding for hoarding's sake. Some are actively burning down their net worth to light the path forward for others. And there's no guarantee that his investments will match Ballmer's returns. Gates is playing offense. He's actively reducing his net worth to fund positive change. He has publicly pledged to donate virtually all of his fortune by 2045, estimating that the Gates Foundation will spend over $200 billion before it shuts down. If you enjoyed this video, please support for more updates. And second, Bloomberg revised Gates' net worth by $52 billion, both adding up to a new ranking. Now, this begs the question, why did Bloomberg make such a drastic adjustment? But here's the thing. This is not about a sudden loss of value in his portfolio. His investments haven't crashed. Rather, it's about a shift in perspective. For years, Bloomberg underestimated the true scope of Gates' philanthropic efforts, which now totals $60 billion through the Gates Foundation. As a result, his liquid net worth, essentially what he could spend freely without impacting his lifestyle, has shrunk from $108 billion to $52 billion. Now, that's a significant drop, but it's important to remember that Gates isn't exactly hurting. He can still easily afford his sprawling homes, private jets, art collections, and even his yacht, which at 512 feet is the largest in the world. The real headline here is that Gates is now worth less than Steve Ballmer, the man who once served as his assistant. That's right. So how did Ballmar get so far ahead? He didn't just perform administrative tasks. When he first joined, Ballmar earned a modest base salary of $50,000. That's equivalent to roughly $163,000 today. But it soon became clear that a standard salary wouldn't suffice. So Gates and Ballmar struck a deal. Ballmar would get 10% of the profit growth that he generated. For example, if Ballmar secured $1 million in new business, he would keep $100,000. Now, this might seem like a small perk, but it proved to be incredibly lucrative. Over time, Ballmar's responsibilities expanded, so his impact on profit growth increased. Today, Ballmar owns a 4% stake in Microsoft, and his net worth has soared to $172 billion, making him the fifth richest person in the world. So how did this happen? There's no secret. Ballmar didn't found another company. He didn't launch a new product line or secure billions in fresh funding. Even when Charlie Munger asked him why he hadn't sold like Gates, Ballmar replied, "No, Charlie, but I'm that loyal." Here's the kicker. The wealth gap between Ballmar and Gates wasn't always this stark, but then something changed. And since then, he's given away roughly $60 billion more. Meanwhile, Ballmar never strayed from his strategy. His stakes slowly grew, turning his passive income into the biggest payday in corporate history. By 2014, Ballmar had eclipsed Gates. And that brings us to the present day. Gates is dropping on the rich list while Ballmar is staying put. And the reason is simple. Gates is shifting from accumulation to legacy. That's an audacious goal. Most billionaires play defense, carefully managing and compounding their wealth, ensuring that it lasts as long as possible. That's why his liquid net worth is down from $108 billion to $52 billion. He's not hoarding, he's donating. This approach does come with trade-offs. Gates is already worth significantly less than he could have been. In fact, it looks like they won't. But this move also offers a unique advantage. It means he doesn't have to watch his investments daily or worry about market fluctuations. It also sets him apart from most billionaires who tend to hold on to every dollar as if it were gold. He's proving that it's okay to voluntarily shrink your net worth to fuel positive change. And that's a powerful message. So the next time you see headlines about Gates dropping in the rankings, remember, it's not about wealth. It's about legacy. Gates may have dropped on the rich list, but he's climbing the moral one. Final thought. In an era where billionaires are often scrutinized for excess, Gates is voluntarily shrinking his fortune, while Ballmar proves that sometimes the biggest gains come from standing still. The wealth gap between the founder and the assistant may have flipped, but the legacy game? That's still Gates to win. Thank you for watching.